Hello, welcome to the second webinar in our psychological skills series. Today we'll be talking about self-talk. I am joined with the lovely K-Lee Jubber today. She's an expert on all things psychology, and she'll be giving us her opinions and take on self-talk as we discuss it together. So a little bit about myself. My background is in psychology. I studied at Stellenbosch and the University of Queensland. I've been involved in the NPO sector, and most recently, I have started Psyche Innovations, which is all about creating innovative psychological tools. As I mentioned, today I'm joined with the lovely K-Lee. She studied psychology at Stellenbosch as well as at UNISA. She has a vast amount of experience in the NPO sector and has run many workshops with a wide array of different people. And please welcome me in joining K-Lee. So today we're going to be covering a little bit about what Psyche Innovations is and what we do there. We'll explain what self-talk is and how it helps and how you can improve it. We'll be looking at 3 cool skills that you can use. One is conversations with myself. The other is how to stop negative self-talk. And the last one is affirmations. So what is Psyche Innovations and what do we do? We're all about creating accessible, evidence-based tools that people can use, primarily our app, Psyche Mental Health. And the emphasis there is evidence-based, quick, interactive tools that you can use in your everyday life. So we focus on 8 core domains on the platform, and the one that we're focusing on today is mastery. Self-talk, the other skills, falls under the 8 domains that we cover. Of course, these domains are all heavily interconnected and skills don't neatly fit into just one of them, but we put self-talk into the mastery domain. So on the app, we help users measure and improve their mental health. I encourage you to go check it out, see how you're doing, see how you can learn and improve some of your psychological skills. Right, so diving straight into it, what is self-talk? So self-talk is really the way in which we talk to ourselves in our head. Sometimes it's the way we talk out loud. And it's something that can be automatic and that we don't even really notice that we're doing. Or it can be, learned and improved through practices to be more healthier and more productive.
So just on what Daniel said about self-talk has to do with conversations that you have with yourself. And I think what's important to note here is that sometimes they can be in your head or even out loud in some cases. And I think that the important part is that self-talk can be positive. It can be used to motivate yourself and to keep yourself going. And it has a range of benefits, which we will discuss in a bit. But also there's the negative self-talk, which is quite discouraging and really does affect your overall mood. So think about trying something new for the first time and then just thinking to yourself, I'm going to fail at this. It's really not going to work for me. And you're kind of putting yourself out before you even start it. So there's different ways that self-talk can help in your life. And I think that, it's important to think about how these things will work in your life specifically. So the first point that we would like to talk about is self-regulation. So self-talks help you control your emotions, thoughts, and actions. It can help you boost your mood or help you in tough times and motivate yourself to complete tasks. The next one is problem solving. So self-talk can help you organize your thought, which is obviously very crucial for problem solving. You can kind of think of self-talk as like a mental sounding board that allows you to think things through just using your own voices. And then the next one is self-reinforcement. As I alluded to earlier, self-talk can help you motivate yourself and push yourself to keep going and reinforce yourself with your own words. Self-talk can also help you stay focused and concentrated on the task that you have at hand. You can remind yourself what you need to do and encourage yourself to keep going, and this can help you with your productivity and performance. Then we have self-talk as a coping mechanism. As we mentioned earlier, you can kind of motivate yourself to keep going. It can kind of serve as your own little cheerleader within your mind that can keep you going and motivating yourself to keep going stronger. And then obviously this goes on to the final point that we have, which is self-motivation. It can encourage you to take action and pursue your goals and just motivate you to face your challenges whenever you have setbacks or anything. Now we're on to our first activity, which is conversations with myself. I'm going to pose a few little self-reflection questions that you can kind of think of to try and think of this activity. But as always, we recommend maybe downloading the app and trying to go through these specifically. So in this activity, we want you to reflect on a situation in your life where you went through a negative experience. It could be maybe an argument you had with someone or a challenge that you faced. And we kind of want to make you reflect on that situation and think about a way that you could have used your self-talk in a more positive way to help you deal with the situation overall. So, first of all, we want you to reflect on that challenge that you faced where your self-talk was negative. We want you to think about how you felt around that and possibly what thoughts came to your mind. Were they the negative thoughts, or were they possibly the positive thoughts that were encouraging yourself to keep going and giving you that positive self-talk? If so, that's definitely what we're trying to be heading towards. So if you had negative thoughts, we want you to reflect on how that possibly changed your outcome in the situation. Did it affect your self-confidence or possibly your performance in the situation? So as you think about these questions, we also just want you to notice if there was a shift in your mindset. I always think a good example with conversations with myself is thinking about how you would treat a loved one, whether that's your partner, a really good friend, or even your parents. Do you treat them in a kind way? And when they've made a mistake, do you motivate them or do you put them down? The chances are you're motivating them. And I think that this is an important point. We live inside our own heads. So having this positive self-talk and reinforcing ourselves and being kind to ourselves when we're facing challenges will help make them easier in the long run. So try talk to yourself the way that you talk to a loved one.
Thanks, K-Lee. That insight into conversations with myself is very helpful. It can be a really useful tool for improving your self-talk. Another skill we want to teach is negative thought stoppage, which is really about trying to reduce negative self-talk that we use. Negative self-talk can pop up in a whole bunch of different settings. For example, when we're really stressed or when we make a mistake. For myself personally, this happens if I am running late and I forgot something at home. I might do negative self-talk and think, oh no, that was silly. You're now going to be even more late. Why do you always make these kind of mistakes? So that's negative self-talk. And it can often get us in a sort of downward spiral of how we talk to ourselves and how we feel, which can really lower our mood and our self-confidence. So stopping negative self-talk is really useful for interrupting that negative downward spiral. So what we do is we learn to detect when we do negative self-talk, and then we create a way to interrupt it. So next time you experience negative self-talk, just stop, take a breath, and try to imagine a mental image of something that helps you stop or interrupt that thought. You could use a stop sign as a mental image. It could be a simple image of something peaceful or something that you connect with. It could be a face of a loved one or whatever works for you. And then once you've stopped it, try to redirect your thoughts towards something positive or encouraging. So for example, if you're going up on stage to give a presentation and you have negative self-talk that's lowering your self-confidence, stop, breathe, think of that negative or that stop sign, and then redirect your thoughts to positive self-talk. For example, I can do this. I've done this before. It's going to work. Everything's fine. And that'll really give you the confidence and the motivation to keep doing what you're doing. Negative self-talk, as I mentioned, can pop up in a range of different settings. For example, when we have fear of failure, or we're experiencing self-doubt, or we're comparing ourselves to others. There are many situations where negative self-talk can creep in. I'd love to hear in the comments, what are your experiences of negative self-talk? When does it happen for you? And how do you manage it? Replacing negative self-talk with positive self-talk can be quite tricky and it takes time. You're not going to go from struggling to hero overnight, but learning to identify when you're doing it and how you're doing it can make it easier for stopping that negative self-talk and interrupting those negative patterns.
The final activity that we're going to go through is the affirmations activity. As we've been mentioning earlier, positive self-talk is really beneficial to help you feel the best that you can and help motivate you in different ways of life. Think about how you feel when a loved one or someone close to you says something really nice about you. It makes you feel really great, right? And really warm and really loved. That's exactly the thing with affirmations. We can say these affirmations to ourselves to make ourselves feel as great, as loved, and boost our moods. I think what's really important with affirmations is there's a whole bunch of generic ones that we can use, such as, I am enough, I am good, I am strong, I am brave, I am worthy. All of these make sense and all of these are wonderful and true to say about yourselves. But I think the most important part about affirmations is personalizing them. So sometimes we might wonder how affirmations are actually really going to make a difference in our life. And I think what's important here is to remember that as you practice these positive ways of thinking about yourself and self-talk, you'll be able to start seeing changes in your behavior, start seeing yourself more positively instead of focusing on yourself in a negative light. I think what's really important here as well is to personalize your affirmations. So for myself, when I go through really stressful periods, or possibly when I was studying for uni and I was in extreme exam periods, I would just remind myself that this too shall pass, which helped me get through the challenge, and remind myself as well that I have gone through these situations before and I've come out and I'm still going. Affirmations are really great to help you with challenges, but they are also really helpful when it comes to daily challenges. As mentioned previously, you can focus more on the positive when you start looking at affirmations. So maybe you can start thinking about things about yourself that you could add to your affirmations to make yourself feel more positive and loved. It's easy to focus on your weaknesses instead of your strengths. That's why it's important to use daily affirmations to boost your self-confidence and your overall well-being. You can remind yourself of your positive qualities and just all of the good things about yourself instead of looking on the negative. So, as mentioned, personalizing your affirmations is really great, and also possibly finding a time of day that you can focus on your affirmations, a time of day that you can maybe set a goal towards, practicing it every morning or every evening before you go to bed. All of these things can work in a great way to help increase the amount of positive self-talk you have and decrease the amount of negative self-talk, which will help you become the best version of yourself.
Thanks, K-Lee. You really pointed out some of the key benefits of using positive affirmations. I know that using affirmations helps me a lot, though I do struggle to implement them in my life. I put the challenge to you to find a way to implement positive affirmations in your life. Maybe you could do a weekly challenge of trying to write and say a positive affirmation to yourself. I'd also like to hear what affirmations you use, so please post your comments. We'd love to hear from you.
So, a brief session recap. We gave you an introduction into what Psyche Innovations are and what we focus on. If you want to learn more about all our 8 domains and try the Psyche scale, possibly look into downloading the app. Then we went in to describe what self-talk is and the many, many ways that it can help you in your life. We then went on to the 3 activities, the first one being conversations with myself, the second being stopping negative self-talk, and the last one being affirmations. We really want you to try and reflect on this conversation and maybe pause the video whenever you need to, just to kind of make sure that you're learning from it and reflecting in your own life.
Thanks for joining us for our self-talk discussion. It's been an absolute pleasure having K-Lee. I encourage you to follow us on our socials and interact with us and ask us some questions. We love to hear how your self-talk is going. I'd also encourage you to try out our app. It has a lot of useful such as self-talk, and it gives you easy steps to break down that self-improvement and implement these skills in your life. Thanks again for joining us. We'll leave the details about where you can find the app and how you can connect with us on social media in the video description. We look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Cheers for now.